Throughout my childhood and especially my teenage years, I was suffering from a lot of fear, anxiety, anger and stress. And I'm a person who doesn't give up, who tries to always find a solution, and that's what I did. I tried every method out there, everything related to self-improvement, from fitness to cold showers to meditations to journaling, you name it, I've done it. And I must admit that it had a positive effect on my life, and for sure it's a progress from the low point that I was at the moment. But unfortunately, the results didn't seem to last. Everything that I did, everything that I achieved, somehow I managed to sabotage it. Somehow I always went back to my ground level. This process happened for years and years, and I was never being able to reach this permanent state of happiness, of well-being, of fulfillment, until I found the technique of letting go. At first I was so skeptical, I didn't believe it at all. I was a man who was always materialistically focused. I always wanted to first see something, touch something, and then believe that it's true. But unfortunately for me, letting go was a whole inner approach. And for somebody not so spiritual as me, it was very hard, and it took me years to finally understand that this is the way of self-improvement. On my channel you can find many videos where I speak about the benefits of letting go, how it's actually the best way that we can develop ourselves, actualize ourselves, but I never took the time to make a separate video about the technique, about how to actually let go. So in this video you're going to get exactly that. In this video you're going to learn the 3 fundamental steps of letting go, and additionally I'm going to add the methods which I use and the results which come about from this amazing, life-changing technique. I'm very excited about making this video, so get ready and let's go. The first step is actually something very universal when it comes to every single teaching, every single way of improving ourselves, and this is awareness. Being able to firstly understand what is your problem so you can develop the right strategy to tackle it. And when it comes to letting go, it makes no exception. We need to first be aware of our internal struggles. This is why I advocate so much for people to just take some time of the day and just be with themselves, without doing anything, without reading anything, without consuming anything, or moving at all, just being with themselves. This is when the problems arise in the conscious space. These are the moments when you can understand what is actually going on in you. And once you know what the problem is, it's so much easier to go and solve it. It's like when you see yourself in the mirror getting a little bit more overweight, this is the moment when you understand that you have some problem, and from this point on you can start working on it. But if you don't know what you should be working on, and that's the case with the inner work, it's very hard for the eye, it's very hard for the mind to understand what you need to be working on internally. This is the moment when you actually can develop a plan. The more practical side, letting go happens when you get aware of your body. This means that you need to shift your focus from all of these thoughts that you have in your head to the body. No thoughts, complete silence in your head, just feeling what are the bodily sensations. If you're not exactly sure what sensations are, it's exactly how your body feels in the current moment. For example, if you go in the cold, your hands feel cold. Try to feel this, try to be present with your hands being cold. Or everybody experiences these stressful moments when you have this gut-wrenching feeling in your stomach. Letting go is basically feeling this feeling in your stomach. Or another good example might be when you get sweaty, you know, on your armpits, you start to sweat. Feel how your body feels when it's heated. Feel the temperature of the air. Feel how your breath goes through your nose and then out through your mouth. All of these techniques help you bring in awareness to your body. And once you have awareness of your body, comes the second step, which is to not judge what you feel. This is so fundamentally important. I would argue it's the most important step in the letting go process. Being aware, feeling your body is already a very good progress, but what our mind tends to do is judge and label the feelings that we have inside. So for example, if you feel a very intense feeling in your stomach, the first thing that the mind does is to label it as something bad. But this ruins the whole process of letting go, because letting go is about accepting all parts of ourselves, all of our feelings, emotions, sensations, thoughts, patterns. And when you judge something as bad, of course you're not going to be willing to feel it completely. And this is when we start escaping. When we feel something quote-unquote bad in our bodies, then our mind tends to make us escape, because our mind is a tool for survival. Our mind's main goal is not to be happy, not to be fulfilled, not to live an amazing life. Our mind is there to help us survive. And when we feel in our body something so intense, something so strong, our body identifies it as danger. And what do we do when there is a danger? We either fight it or we fly away, we run away from it. And that's what the mind actually tends to do the most. It tries to make us escape from this feeling so we don't feel it, so we're not in danger, and ultimately so we're not going to die. And we can escape via two ways. The first way we escape is via moving. So anytime you feel something bad, you may notice yourself, for example, this is something that I personally do, walking around the room and thinking. You know, you cannot stand still because this feeling is too intense for you, and you need to compensate via the external world by doing something, by moving your body. Some people like to journal straight, some people like to do breathing exercises, do some push-ups, cold showers, and once you understand that people start doing stuff just to escape how they feel, you understand that the whole basic self-improvement world is about coping with a shitty internal state. That's something very interesting that I realized some time ago. The second way, and I would argue is the most common way that people escape their shitty feelings in their body, this is via overthinking. This is so crazy, but once you are more conscious, once you are more aware, once you practice some mindfulness, you realize that the moment you feel something bad in your stomach, your mind starts going like crazy. It starts to come up with all of these different thoughts and ideas, and that's what I tell to people who are overthinking. Overthinking comes from a feeling. All of these thoughts, they are associated, they are grounded, they are established from one single feeling. All of these thousands of thoughts that we call overthinking are actually established from a feeling. And one feeling can literally generate 1,000 to 1,000,000 of thoughts per day. Not a lot of people realize this, but our feelings are the ground base of our thoughts. Our mind, which wants us to survive, tries to escape via either the outside world or the inner world. We either try to do something, move, or we try to think our way through the situation. All just not to feel what we feel inside. And this is where the third step of letting go comes from, which is just to feel what you feel. It's easier said than done, obviously, and a common misconception that people believe about letting go is that they think that letting go means to get rid of something. It's like you put some waste in your trash bag and you go out and just throw it, get rid of it. But things with letting go are not so simple, and we shouldn't try to get rid of anything, because if we try to get rid of something which is part of us, then it means that we don't accept a part of us. And this is how we start to develop this love-hate relationship with ourselves, where we love the good parts and we hate the bad parts. This is why we believe it's acceptable to talk only a certain way, to say certain things, to dress a certain way. This is how we start to dissociate from ourselves. This is the so-called split. And what we actually need to do when we are letting go is surrender to the current feeling experienced in our bodies. It's one very good analogy which helps me a lot when it comes to letting go, to actually imagine, to actually visualize the whole process. And this is when you imagine that you are diving into a pool. Imagine your emotion is one pool and you're just diving into it. There is a split second where you decide just to let your body fall, and this is when you experience the water. The same way, this is how we experience these emotions. We just stay with them. We don't try to fix them, to judge them, to change them. We just stay there and feel them completely until they dissolve. I know that these things are very hard to understand by the logical mind and how we are used to thinking, but the emotional world is something completely different, and we need to get used to being in touch with our emotional brain. And something which may help you to feel what you feel much better is actually turning your brain off. It's actually ignoring the thoughts that come about these feelings, because when you have a shitty feeling, you start to escape, you start to think about the future, you start to think about what you're going to do after this letting go session. But the best way that you can feel is actually to turn off your other brain. It's like you have two brains, the logical and the emotional. If you turn off the logical brain and you focus only on the emotional brain, you'll be able to understand your emotions much better. It's like somebody speaking in German to you and you're trying to understand with your English knowledge. No, turn off the English knowledge and you turn on your German brain. It's very difficult to explain these concepts logically, but I hope that you are getting what I'm saying. The way is not so much logical, it's not so much, something which makes completely sense in time from point A to point B. The process of letting go is experiential. You cannot describe it fully with words. You need to experience it. And something very important when it comes to these emotions, that we should not focus so much on how they feel. We should not focus so much on them getting better, because logically, if you let go of something, it should get better. But sometimes when you focus more and more on your emotions, they actually start to feel more and more intense. But I can promise you, with enough patience, these emotions will go sooner rather than later, because these emotions, they want to go. They are not real things, but they really want to go out of your body. That's why they come up in the first place. The emotions are not supposed to stay in your body forever. And a very good indicator of you understanding and realizing that you've actually let go is when you feel relief, is when you feel your body even 1% lighter, is when you feel your mood at least 1% better. Now if you stayed this long into this video, I congratulate you because you have a long attention span and you're willing to learn new things. Now we're going to go to the bonus section, which is going to be the methods and the results of the practice of letting go. From my experience, the best method of letting go is through some form of meditation. Everybody has different types, different preferences when it comes to meditations, but we are speaking about subconscious work. And when it comes to the subconscious, it's very hard to bring it on the surface. This is why we need a lot of relaxation. This is why our bodies and our minds need to be relaxed. Unfortunately, we are not able to reach the capacity of letting go when we are in this completely conscious state compared to the state that we go when we are completely relaxed and we dive deep into our subconscious. Something which I personally do is put my timer on 10 minutes and for 10 minutes close my eyes and bring my whole attention into my body, what it actually feels. And every time there's a certain feeling coming up, I just focus only on this feeling. And of course, some thoughts come up, some ideas, some distractions come up, but I try to do my best to put my focus on this particular feeling. And fortunately, after some time, you're going to start feeling this emotion actually starting to feel less and less intense, and all this pressure, all this heaviness that you have in your body will start to actually slowly disappear. Something else which may help you is to write on your notebook what you're thinking, and to write especially the things which are bothering you. Once you write something on the notebook, what this does for you is you have your problem, the thing that we spoke about in the first point of awareness, you have your problem in front of your eyes and you're able to start working on it. The feelings which are associated with this problem start to come up on the surface, and this way you're being able to work on them much easier. Well, now when it comes to the results of letting go, I cannot even explain with my words the power of this technique. I cannot explain the potential that it has on humanity in general. People are not supposed to be so stressed, people are not supposed to feel so heavy and feeling like life is such a burden. But because we don't know about this technique, which is actually in all of us, this is something that we are all able to do and it costs no money, we have forgotten how to deal with ourselves. And the results of this technique are absolutely unbelievable. And of course it's hard to explain when it's not something on the outside. You know, when somebody is jacked with a lot of money, with a lot of success and status, you can kind of identify his success points. But when it comes to us, it's very hard to feel success. You know what I mean? It's very hard to actually identify it when you're successful, and it happens a lot of times when you let go. Actually, other people will tell you with their feedback that you've actually let go, and then you realize, because when you let go of something, you start even thinking about it. Let's say you have a fear about snakes. When you let go of your fear about snakes, you're not even aware that you've let go of snakes because thoughts don't come up. It's not there anymore. And this is why we feel so heavy, because we have all this fear, all this anxiety, all this anger inside of us which we haven't let go of. And something which is very, very beneficial in your day-to-day life is that you notice that you don't get so mad and triggered so easily. There are going to be some situations which now trigger you a lot. Now you get very angry, very stressed, but after letting go you realize how they slowly don't affect you so much. And it's not that these situations have changed, it's more that your relationship with them have changed. It's more that you have actually let go of the feeling of the pressure relating to these situations. This technique, the technique of letting go, the philosophy of letting go is so powerful, I cannot advertise it enough. And even though this is something completely free that you can do at your free time, at home, everywhere you are, the results of the technique of letting go, even the philosophy of letting go, are absolutely mind-blowing. This is something that we cannot yet understand with our logical brains, but this has the potential to change the world. Now, this technique, this practice is completely free for everybody. You can do it anywhere you want, but the problem is that we don't understand it good enough. That's why I make all these videos, to bring more awareness to this topic, to help as many people as possible. And that's the exact same reason why I offer my one-on-one help with this subject. It's not so much that you don't understand, but sometimes you need somebody from the outside to bring awareness to the problems that you have, because as I told you, this is the first step. We don't have awareness of the problems in the first place. And when you have somebody who can identify your blind spots, your weaknesses, why you self-sabotage, which are your trigger points, then you're much more able to work on them yourself. This is why I believe my coaching is very helpful for you if you want to bring your awareness, your consciousness, and your life situation, your mood, and how you feel on the next level. Don't hesitate and click the first first link down in the description below. I'm very excited to work with you. Now, if you found this video, this topic interesting, useful or informative, I'm sure that you're going to like this video that I made right here. Never forget, guys, that real transformation starts from within. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.